volcanic mass underneath Yellowstone that if it erupts, the world is...
And it's due, right?
It's due.
And I mean, within a
couple lifetimes.
100,000 years.
Could be tomorrow, could be 3,000. Somewhere in there. Hi everybody, it's Ben down at Yellow Racket. We're here today with another episode of Your Favorite Record, where we talk to artists about their favorite record and how it came to be so. And with me today is the Chattanooga local ensemble, Call Me Spinster, made up of sisters Amelia, Rachel, and Rosie. And they have a new record coming out this December. The record is their self-titled debut with Strolling Bones Records. It comes out December 11th. But today, we're here to talk about their favorite record of all time, which they had to agree upon as a group, which I'm sure is not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
So, tell me what you brought today.
You brought the timeless Miseducation. I think we were maybe a little surprised talking to each other that it was sort of one of the few kind of concentric circles for all of us, but if you were alive in the 90s, it was hard to not be affected in some way by this record.
This year, Rolling Stone just updated their top 500 albums of all time list, and it's up to number 10, right? The 10th best album of all time, which is just wild to think about. I mean, I'm sure this is true for you guys. Like growing up in the 90s, it's hard to imagine any album that you grew up with, being in the top 10 greatest albums of all time.
I think it was a complete package in a way that people didn't know could be a complete package. I mean, it just covered so much territory and just...
Coming from the Fugees and then just going and doing her own thing and deciding that she could do reggae and she could do dancehall and she could rap and she could, sing soul. It was just,
and
limitless.
Do it herself.
Do it all herself.
And,
produce it herself. Yeah, do it
on
all.
her own terms. And
do you guys have specific memories about the first time that you heard that record, or maybe even listening to it together?
I have memories of being on a road trip with it on my personal Walkman, because I don't know if we had risked trying to get our parents to play it over the communal.
I remember that time, but
so I was listening to it on my Walkman and singing it really loud and being like, oh, I sound so good. Lauren and I were just made to duet together. Yeah, but it was definitely a staple of road trips. For sure, and the Walkman.
Well, Amelia finally got a computer her senior year of high school. Was that it? I was in junior high, so I would sneak in and put in earbuds and just go through her iTunes all night and make mix CDs for my friends, and I put doo-wop on every single.
I could remember exactly where it was the first time I heard the score, but it when it came out, it was just ubiquitous. It was just everywhere.
Yep. You mentioned the track doo-wop, so I have a soft spot in my heart for doo-wop music, like the flamingos and the platters and stuff like that. Yes. And throughout the record, a lot of the harmonies are really tight intervals, which is characteristic of doo-wop music. So I'm curious, is that a big part of the draw for this album?
Probably subconsciously. I don't think that was it's just our thing that we do because of the way we grew up and the music we make together. And
the vocals in general in the album are just so vast, and she's using every part of her voice and using every part of her self-expression.
I had no clue growing up that there was even that much backup vocal. I don't even think I really noticed, because it's just such an experience. And looking back at what I think most connected with as a kid were a lot of the kind of power ballads. As an adult, I think I'm drawn to the really lyrically complex, more of the hip hop tracks that
we were maybe ready to hear.
Yeah. There she is. I've always kind of struggled with lyrics. There's so many songs where, I have these garbled nonsense lyrics that I've realized I'm saying
not the right
bananas.
words.
Yeah.
And but this record is so clear and so powerful. It's so direct. You have to listen.
And you have to give it an intentional study. I mean, it's an education. It's so beautifully named for that. Just the way that it tells her story, it makes you want to study it. Like I remember in the car having the insert out and memorizing the lyrics and like wanting to know what everything meant and wanting to know more, you know.
Yeah, but that's one of the missing pieces from sort of like the streaming experience, is that you don't always get that level of intentionality, and I think that's why one of the reasons why people are buying vinyl so much more often.
I mean, you can sit down and listen to this front to back, you know, over and over and over and over again, and always get something new.
All right, so in a few words, why should our viewers listen to this album?
I think it's for me the album that is both the most personal and the most global at the same time. Intense vulnerability and, you know, a personal experience, but also like, you know, flip that on its head and like zoom way out and sort of put it in this like vast spiritual context. But like that vulnerability and that like personal just like drawing you in is so unusual, I think, and rare.
Yeah, she just like bears it all, and that is her most incredible strength that I think everyone can learn something from, of just like showing it all and letting people in.
I kind of like growing up took like a lot of her songs as like almost a warning, or like this is how it is, this is how the world works, and she has this amazing ability to be like, things are not going to be easy, and this is what I trust in, and you figure that out for yourself. And I mean, it speaks to everyone.
Well, a lot of that trust is like trusting yourself and about and being honest, and, you know, being this sort of vessel of something bigger than you. The journey is difficult, but there's so much beauty in it, and, you know, so much kind of introspective music after that. I think Mama's Gun came out right after that. Jill Scott, like most like really honest, funny, clever, personal music that was so good.
So those should be enough reasons. So you guys need to go check out this album. So this has been another episode of Your Favorite Record with Call Me Spinster. Their new self-titled EP on Strolling Bones Records is out December 11th. They will be here in the shop performing that day, signing records from 2 to 8 p.m. December 11th. It's a Friday. They're going to do a short set at 5 and a short set at 7. We're going to try to have drink service here, so come grab a beer and watch some live music, perhaps for the first time in a long time, and get a copy of their new record. Their favorite record, once again, was The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. Let's talk about the first record that came to mind when I asked you guys to pick your collective favorite record.
This well-worn and loved piece of gold.
John Denver and the Muppets, A Christmas Together. This album, coincidentally, we just found out is being reissued on the exact same day as y'all's record release date on colored vinyl. So we're gonna try to have a few copies of that in the shop as well.
Yep. Do yourself a favor.
It's also universal and personal.